So the unusual topic this week is mental dieting. And I think everyone listening, we're all truly convinced of the mind-body connection. There's too much evidence and there's too much personal evidence that we understand that the connection between our mind and our body, what we think and the state of what we feel, the state of our health. I bet each and every one of you wholeheartedly concur with that worldview, that paradigm, that of the mind-body connection. What we think about, we embody. And because of that, we engage in many, many different health and wellness modalities, don't we? We meditate, we pray, we work on our food and nutrition, we exercise, we see therapists, counselors, mentors, life coaches. The list goes on and on of these things we do to enhance this mind-body connection. And yet, the one area that so many people skip for some reason is the one area where there's the most influence of all, and that is simply what they think, simply what they allow themselves to think, simply what they indulge in thinking, because in many cases, it's much easier to change an external thing than to change what we think. It's easier to change a job than it is to change the way that we think about the world and our place in it. It's easier to change where we live than change our thinking or how we feel about where we live. It's easier to change externals in many cases than it is to do the difficult, challenging, often challenging is a sufficient word for changing what it is that we think. And yet, we all realize with the mind-body connection, there's no way that without a fundamental change in the thoughts, the opinions, the attitudes, the perceptual take that we have on reality, without that changing, nothing really is going to change in the outside world. So let's move and change what we can, because there's this thought, can I even change what I think? Is it possible? And if we were in a situation where we couldn't change our thinking, and thinking is the number one cause of our well-being, we would really be in dire straits. But fortunately, we are given free will to change our thinking, unless we become so automatic, autopilot, indulgent in a particular way of thought that we lose our capacity to change the way that we think. So mental dieting might be one of the most difficult or challenging, painful or tedious things that we ever, sorry, my cat, this is just impossible. I think that I love my cat. I think that changing our mental diet is something we all could do, but it's going to take work. It's going to take effort. If we do the possible, God will do the impossible. But I think based on what we've just discussed, we recognize no real fundamental change can happen to us if we're harboring, allowing, indulging in particular ways of thinking, particular consumptions of particular types of thought, fear, worry, dread, anxiety, jealousy, anger. If we're indulging in that, then we can only expect that that's going to embody itself in our body and in our circumstances. So that's why I bring this up. And if it sounds like I'm lecturing you, well, I am, but I'm mostly lecturing myself because I notice my own indulgence in, ways of thinking, things that I consume, news, etc., that I know is not good for me, and yet I do it anyway. It's tempting, it tastes good, it hurts if I don't do it, I miss it if I don't. And I have to have my comforts, and it's familiar to think this way, and I get a certain amount of self-affirmation and self-confirmation by thinking this way. It's my narrative, it's who I think I am. And okay, feel free, Greg. You just indulge in certain ways of thinking and then enjoy the consequences. We can think whatever we want. In truth, we can think whatever we want, but in truth, we are not immune from the consequences. We cannot drink poison and think that we can get away with it. So it's a bit of a strong topic this week, but I think it's one that we all, even the smallest bit of improvement, would make a radical change in our life. And a radical change in our thinking would bring us to the precipice of enlightenment and nothing less, because that's the promise. If we hold the highest thoughts in ourselves, it's a spiritual law that it will embody in our life. Anyway, I'll see you tomorrow. Think about it.